Peace, everybody. How y'all doing out there? All right, there we go. Peace, peace, peace. Shalom. So, today we are going to talk about roots. We are on part 3, right? And this is going to be an interesting one in a sense, because we have we deal with the dealings of marriage and meeting mates in this one. You know what I'm talking about? I guess this is why this one's pretty cool. Peace, brother Zach. Peace, bro. Good seeing you. But yeah. Shalom. Oh, my name is Precious. All right, let's go, bruh. You know, so in this one, you know, it's 1776. We all know what happened. Well, what was going on. It will be the preamble to the Revolutionary War. Shalom, Sister Kashia. And Toby's a grown man, right? Shalom, Chief. Shalom. All right, cool. So, and you know, he's grown. And then he sees, you know, this one girl tries to holler at him called Geneva. Why does it seem like I went to a school with a chick named Geneva? For some reason, like I know that name. You know. But in this one, as we dealt with last strong, we see that you know, Toby ran, you know, or Kunta ran in that sense. And because of that, he's known as a runner. And he has runaway blood in him. You know, that's what they call it. And so at the start, you know, they talk about that, you know, because one of the guys, well, I guess drivers, we say white drivers, that drives the tobacco. He wants to use Toby, but Mr. Ames is like, no, he got runaway blood in him. And look at his back, you know. Therefore, he has the symbols of a runner, you know, the whipping and things of that nature. And you know, Toby puts on the show like, I'll be good for your hand for you. I don't run away, you know. You just smoothing them, you know. That's what some people do on their job every day. You know, they put on a good show, good shindig, and talk differently and act a certain way that is compromising or in conviction with their nature or their first movements. I'll say that. But one thing was interesting, you know, Kunta is a Muslim, right? And you know, he does the 5 prayers. Peace, Brother Antonio. And you know, Philip walks in on him. And then one thing Philip says is that you know, you doing that makes white folks mad, and it makes and scares Illinois rich people. Say it like that. You know, and that was interesting to say in the sense that him knowing his identity, him following the tenets of his culture, it scares, you know, the dominant society apparently that has enslaved him, and it scares those that have no knowledge of self and all they're trying to do is survive. I'll say it like that. Yeah, taking on a new consciousness to move from one group to the other, to another. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It sort of reminds me what the I would say Surah 98 7 through 10, when Allah talks about people that want Muhammad to um basically get along so they can get along. That's what this sort of reminds me of. But Toby's gonna run again. Like I told you, he's gonna run again, right? And Fiddler in prime fashion, he brings up the fact, last time he ran, you got me moved out my cabin and I had to sleep in the barn for most of the winters. What about Fiddler? That could be a t-shirt right there. What about Fiddler? Me. He brought that up to him because he's gonna run again. And then he tells him, there ain't no way to beat the law. And the law gets read, in white churches, and we carry, no carry guns. You get 20 lashes, without a traveling pass. And white folks live by it, and more rich people die by it. And the law that he's talking about is not, the love for Allah's wisdom, but the statutes of the dominant society. I'll say it like that so you get an understanding. It's that. And, he tells him, you ain't going to be free. You're going to be dead. And then he says, well, then I'll be free. And he sort of like in part 2, he makes the decision like it's a no-brainer, right? It's sort of like that part in Rosewood when they ask Sylvester, what you gonna do? And Big Baby says, I'm gonna shoot. That's, and he says it more than one time. He said, I'm gonna shoot Sylvester. Big Baby gonna shoot. It's just clear for for them. Freedom or nothing. And it's clear for Kunta, because that's his first movement. Where that's not Fiddler's movements, so he pretty much tries to talk him out of it. Because he's one thinking of himself, and then he's like, what about the rest of us? The rest of these enslaved Melanor rich people that don't know themselves. We get punished too. But Kunta's like, man, they ain't gonna do nothing to you, Fiddler. But he said, I'll be free. But Fiddler relents, right? And he picks up, he gets his dang on fiddle. He's like, man, I'm gonna play this fiddle like nobody's seen, and I'm gonna have everybody dancing and looking basically and thinking about the music. That way it's easier for you to get away. It's like Fiddler don't agree, in a sense, but he gonna help him out anyway, because that's basically his son. He's adopted him, and he knows that what means a lot to Kunta is his freedom. So he's gonna help him out, just like he did before. He's going to use his music to give a diversion where everybody else don't know there is a diversion. It was almost like Fiddler wanted what Kunta wanted, but just didn't have the heart to go through it. Yeah, but Brother Zach, he already told you, I'm too old and it's too cold. Well, by now it ain't too cold because it looked like it's about summer, but he's too old and it's probably too hot. You would just say it like that. I'm too old and it's too hot. But you said the same thing, about it in the winter. But it's too hot now. I ain't doing it. He he wouldn't be able to keep up with Kunta anyway. You know what I'm saying? And there's no reason, I guess, in that sense. He'll probably just end up slowing him down. So, Kunta runs and whatnot, and he basically goes to the plantation that Fanta's on, because he really want to see him some Fanta. Mind you, from episodes 1 and 2, it didn't look like they had a chemistry or connection, or it wasn't building up yet, but all of a sudden, there's a connection there, like they long lost lovers or something. This is weird. And he sees Fanta because the old guy goes out to the barn. An old slave. He goes out to the barn that lives on that plantation. And he's like, look, he thinks it's a fox or something, or a weasel. And he like, look, I ain't seen you. You don't know me, and I don't know you. But you remember that. You already got somebody helping you out. He already know you trying to run. But I ain't seen you. But I ain't gonna help you out neither. But would you say that one is too comfortable with the amenities that offered from master? One is too, yeah, that can be it. That can be the case. Because one thing that Fiddler talks about, he remember, like in 2, he talks about his pine wood flows, and he talks about his how he lives and how hard he don't work to get to what he got. What I'm saying? So he's talking about the amenities that he was given, by his plantation owner, but his owner. He was longing for home. We always taste the world through our woman. Yes, he was homesick. Yeah, it just came to me what you just said, Chief. Yeah, he was homesick. All right. Yeah, and yeah, you'll miss home like that. Yeah. But yeah, so he misses home, like Chief said, and he goes to see Vanna, and he talks Mandika to her. Mind you, she's a Mandika too, but she say, I don't remember all of that. I don't put that all out of my head. She already basically, I want to say, forsook what she was, or made the decision to say, I'm gonna put that all out of my head and basically get along in this new world that I've been put in. I'll say it like that. And she does it, but she tells Kunta, that peace is the she tells Kunta that she's the young master's bedwench, right? I might have to say it anyway. She's master's bedwench. The young master, not the old one, but the young master. But one thing I'll say, he asked her, what did they do to her before that part? And she says everything, and one can only imagine. Would it be home in the sense of the woman from his culture? Because he turned down some at Again, I would say the woman of his culture. Because I mean, Geneva was easy, she was easy on the eye. She was skinny and cute, but she wasn't home. She wasn't home, comfortably, for sure. But it was when he said, "I'm too old. If we stay on this side of the world, Babylon, too long, our spirits, even in death, will never return home." Butler was institutionalized. Yeah, he was institutionalized. Shawshank Redemption. That's another movie. And yeah. So she tells him that, she's the young master's bed wench. And Kunta says, white men don't even leave us. And that was telling for me, he don't leave us, you know. But it's like, if you listen to Chief's podcast on Black Art War, he talks about, APEP and bringing, back to where you don't, you know, do certain things that you once did, and that goes into that, being that APEP energy to where I don't even leave you as you are, and you don't even recognize yourselves even amongst your natural counterpart. She don't recognize you, you don't recognize her. And she's like, I can touch you, but the only kids I'm supposed to have are his. Of course, I would have say WTF, but yeah, you know, um, could we connect that with the Skinner box? Yeah, we can connect that with the Skinner box. Brother Zach, just because of the simple fact that Fiddler was the rat in the sense of on the plantation. All he did was play the fiddle, and he played what others wanted him to play. He didn't have a thought of his own to say, okay, I got this fiddle. I'm going to compose my own music, or I'm going to go somewhere where I can play my own music. I'm not going to stay here no more. He stayed right where he was, just like the Skinner Box wants you to. You know what I'm saying? He tried to institutionalize Kunta just like he was ordered to. You yeah. Chief says, you could connect it with the Skinner box, but Philip manipulated the slave maker too. It was a game within a game. He was just following base rules for the survival in the environment. Yeah, Chief. I mean, like in part 2, when Coon just caught for the first time, he's like, "Look, you got an investment here." He's sort of haggling with the slave master. You know what I'm talking about? He's trying to do that, and you could tell that he understands economics and slave labor and the value of a slave. You know what I'm saying? But he's a slave. you know. But yeah, but Kunta is on his knees and hugging on Fanta. It's like, I need you, Fanta. I need you right now. I need you. And they do what grown people do, and the morning after, right? Here comes Kunta, like, look, we do this, we can get here, we can go up north. And she's like, where up north? Well, wherever it is, we going up north. And what we gonna do up there? He's like, I get a job. You know what I'm saying? I find a job, I make money, And she like, what white man job that you know how to do, you know what I'm saying? And you can already tell that she's been institutionalized or indoctrinated to go against her natural counterpart when she says that, she, which if you're trying to run in hindsight, that would make sense. But because we already know that she's in dissension, it's not to help him. It's to basically be rebellious because you already know she ain't going. This is what happens when you align outside your culture. Yeah, it's just shit. Who would you say would take the blame in that situation? Fanta for yelling or Kunta for trying to convince her to leave? Well, I would say both. Because because in that scene, right, they're arguing and she's saying, I learned to stay alive. You know what I'm saying? I ain't thinking about all of that. I ain't thinking about the African talk. I don't even think about that. I'm trying to just live. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stay here. You know what I'm saying? And because even though you in poor living conditions, you know what I'm saying, it's apparently better than, finding what out there, finding what's there out there on your own, apparently, is that she says. But I would say it's both. It's both for it's because in this scene, what I took it as? I took it as a domestic disturbance. This is a classic example of a domestic disturbance that we see in modern times. That's all it was. It was a domestic disturbance or domestic violence, whatever you want to say. It's a domestic disturbance. We just gonna call it like that because Kunta should have already had the knowledge or the wisdom to know this girl's already too far gone. When she told him that they did everything to her, he should have known that. And she was like, I don't speak the African talk no more. She talks like them. She talks like the slaves that he sees, that he knows are different tribes, and he knows what tribes they are by how they look, but they don't have the knowledge of themselves. And now she's like that. She's indoctrinated. She's part of the matrix. You know what I'm saying? And he should have known right there. It's like I lost that one. I'm gonna have to let her go. I got to hurry up and run. But hey, he wanted to feel a home, but home wasn't in her. She forsook home. You know what I'm talking about? But he wanted to feel a home. And he stayed too long. So I would say it's primarily his fault because he is the man. But she started yelling like, you got to go. You got to go. They gonna come in here. It's like, you creating a commotion, and what happens? They right outside. The slave catchers and the young master and whatnot. So I would say it's his fault, majorly because he's the guy. So he was loyal to a fault. He was loyal to the culture. I would say it like that. I don't think it's Fanta per se, because like I say, if you look at the first two episodes, they didn't like they had like a chemistry there. They didn't act like they were going to, be betrothed to each other or whatever, But one thing we do know, if we don't know if these two really had chemistry, we know that Kunta is loyal for his culture, for his Mandinka heritage. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he's loyal to. But I wouldn't say he's loyal to Fanta, but he's loyal to his culture. And so he's I guess, Mandinka mate with Mandinka, just like, I knew, get when I knew, what I'm saying? It's the same thing. I think he's loyal in that way. He's loyal to his culture. And so, because of this, he gets caught. But one thing is interesting is slave catchers. because as I watch the slave catchers, I think of what they call patty rollers or police, you know what I'm saying, policy agents. This is the early starts. And you watch this, you see why, that they're called such. you know it 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 didn't surprise me. I already knew. But you will see, you will understand. Oh, so that's why. But that's all that scene was. It was a domestic disturbance between Illinois rich two Illinois rich individuals, and one yells loud enough for slave catchers or policy agents to recognize the disturbance and basically go on the scene. And what did they do? They get they apprehend the male in the disputes. Basically what it is. Even though we know he's trying to run, they got a warrant out on him anyway. That's all the more reason, though. Now they got more probable cause, apparently. But after that, they cut off Toby's foot, and he's now sold off to Master John Reynolds' brother, Dr. William Reynolds, right? Just so you know. And it's not just him, it's him, Fiddler, Geneva, and Luther. And this is where we meet Bell, you know what I'm saying? Doctor's pretty much given up on nursing or doctoring on Kunta. It's like, he gonna end up dead because of the festering of the wound in his foot when they cut it off. But of course, Bell, which Bell is up and down sometimes as a character, but in this part, she sees, you ain't gonna die. Bell ain't gonna let you die. She brings that, that feminine quality, what I'm saying, where she sees something like, you ain't dying. Not on my watch. She gonna say this, she gonna say that Melnor rich man, The difficult thing about judging that interaction is imagining yourself as a first generation. Now this is cheap. First generation slave. We can say that he was loyal to a fault, but that's based on our wisdom being here. Yeah. That's us. That's us on the outside looking in, but that's us being here, not putting ourselves as a first generation. So we cannot say that he's loyal to a fault. I can't speak on that because I'm one of the ones he sees that don't have his knowledge of self or his identity, in that sense, which I found very interesting. He didn't have any money, so he sold the real commodity, which was people. Yeah. He was unfamiliar with the abomination that we know as the un-African. Yeah. It was still beyond Kunta's imagination because he knew her before and he never truly converted. That's right. That he never seen that before. And now he's getting a look at, basically what happens in this country or in this new world, because this ain't the only place that this happens at, saying in different variations, but it's still the same. You go to Colombia, you go to Mexico, you go to Venezuela, Brazil, where we, Jamaica, Hispaniola, it won't be called, Haiti and Dominican Republic yet. So it's Hispaniola. You know what I'm saying? Or San Domingo or Santo Domingo. you know, that whole Antilles. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Um, you see that, and you know, it says a lot because one thing is that those from back home, they don't know what happens to people, well to those that leave, and what they go through, and what comes out, being enslaved and becoming this un-African African. you know it's sort of like a myth. You go and you never come back again, but we don't know what happens to you, because nobody else come back to tell you what happens. So it's a myth. you know it was almost like Fanta was already defeated in episode 2. Yeah, the seeds was already sown. You know what I'm saying? The seed was already sown by episode 2, and she already told you she learned to stay alive in by episode 2. So it shouldn't have been a surprise. you know she already conceded the defeat in that retrospect. But like I say, Belle coming in with her healing powers. Kunta don't die. But he's distraught about getting his part of his foot chopped off, and he's like, no, what kind of man does that to another man? And his question is valid because it goes back to what Chief says. He's a first generation, so he sees men a certain way in his culture, but he's getting a culture shock on basically, how could somebody do that to somebody? You know what I'm saying? But us being here for so long, it doesn't, basically shock us because we know, what I'm saying? But yeah, he's like, how can you do that to another man? This is, crazy. You know what I'm saying? And Belle comes in, because he's talking with Fella and whatnot, and she says, a half a foot don't make a man no less of a man. You know what I'm saying? And then Fella says, you can't run no more. You know what I'm saying? Not with that foot, you can't run no more. But with that, go back to when he knocked over O.J. Simpson's daughter's food from the respect aspect. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? From the respect aspect, he's taught different. Well, that whole training, his training as a Mandinka warrior, he's already taught the basic of respecting other men, especially with that first lesson that the Katango gives them about warfare. You know what I'm saying? Give your enemy a way out. That's already telling you to respect the other man in your enemy. You know what I'm saying? If you will. So you already know it's not about total subjugation like you see in Shaka Zulu. It's like, yeah, we're going to win. The key is to win. It's not to brutalize or really devastate the enemy. You know what I'm saying? It's just winning. Okay, we won. Let's go. I'll say it like that. And we see that Belle, even though she don't so she like Toby. We know she like her. You know what I'm saying? The surprise part is Geneva and Luther liking each other. Think about how excited we get as men when we see a cultural woman. We might feel attracted based on culture more than butterflies or triangles. We all know. Well, I'm not going to Um, yes, we all want to go home. Yes, we don't need butterflies and triangles and hearts, clovers, and blue moons and rainbows and whatnot. We don't need all that. We don't need no Lucky Charms, but or charm bracelets. But we all want to go home. We all want the feeling of being home. you know, um, yeah. But Bill and Toby's like, man, I ain't gonna walk no more. I'm gonna lay down and die. He's like, I'm gonna lay down here and die. But Bill ain't gonna let him die. The words of the words of the Wizard of Oz. There's no place like home, but we can click our heels 3 times, and that's all. You gotta actually make moves to get back home. Um, it reminds me of a part in the animated series Spawn, where Al Simmons says, I just want to go home. He says that I want to go home. He wants to go back to Wanda, but he's like, I just want to go home. And Cagliostro says, we all want to go home, but it's war getting there. Already telling him he's gonna have to fight to get home. But Bale basically uses reverse psychology on Kunta. I thought you was a proud Mandinka warrior, and here you are laid in the bed. You know what I'm saying? And it rouses him to get up out the bed, right? And he used the crutches that she made for him, pretty much. And she also gives him some boots, which she got from Master Reynolds. Well, Master Dr. Reynolds, Dr. Master, whatever you want to call it. And she fixed it so, she put some cotton or whatever in the boot where his cut foot would be. But he used the crutches, and she's happy. Like, I knew you could walk. I knew you could walk. She's all happy that he got up, and and she got him up out that bed. But then she triggered something out of him. It's like, not only am I gonna learn to walk, I'm gonna learn to run. You see his eyes just lit up, and then when he says run, she like, uh-oh. You just see her eyes like, I didn't mean for you to do all that. I just wanted you to walk. But he wants to run because he a runner. But yeah, she gave him that little dose of power, and he was like, man, I'm not just gonna settle for walking. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna learn to run. I'm gonna run it because I'm gonna run again, because that's going back to his first movements. I think that's the issue you're gonna see with Bale, pretty much. Yeah, if that spirit is in you, it's in you. That's right. He was determined, Sister Kashia, yes. And it's pretty much after that, it's 4 years later. First female tenderness he experienced since his mother back home. At this point, he was in his 20s. Yeah, I would say that. Because there's you sort of can't, chronologically pinpoint, at this time, because it didn't matter how old you was, you're a slave, you're property. And they'll tell how old you are by the teeth, like you see in part 2. But yeah, he was in his 20s, and could that be like putting Osiris back together? Yeah, I would say so. But it's not. But she's not bringing back the dead, in that sense. But yeah, But the piece that's missing from Kunta is just the physical slab of a foot. What's in him is still intact. Because, like you say, I'm going to want to run. So he's not missing no, I guess I want to say he's not missing no part of his spirit. But yeah, she pretty much brings him back to life in the sense because he just wants to lay there and die. So yeah, you could say that she's offset for ISIS in that moment because she brings him back from wanting to lay there and die to getting up and not only wanting to rock, he wants to run. He wants to run. you know. And what? 4 years later, Geneva trying to shoot her shot at him. And at this point, you sort of think in that scene that Geneva was stuck in her lower nature when she tries to holler at Toby. But it's all a ploy for her and for Luther to run, right? It was very interesting, Yeah, she wasn't reassembling his Gambian consciousness. She was trying to make an American. I will agree. She was. She was trying to make her an American man. Because just like Fanta, aka Maggie, Belle don't want to hear that African talk neither. You know what I'm saying? She don't want to hear all that. And but even though she would say, because at one point this was an interesting scene for me, even when I was a kid, Kunta says how he likes her face because he's like, that's Mandinka face. I'm talking about? Still loyal to the culture, as you can see. And she's like, look here, I ain't no African. My people come here. My mama's, my daddy's daddy, and all that whatnot. And don't you ever call me African. And that's when he says, I won't be, never. And walks on off. You know what I'm saying? Like he ain't gonna never see her again. You don't have to worry about that. I would go. But yeah. But she still tries to help him out, referring him to Master Dr. Reynolds to be his driver because Luther was his driver, but he ran off with Geneva. So the master needed another driver, and she refers to Kunta, which was interesting enough. And she also, is also, everybody always, tells Kunta, to give up that Mandinka talk. Give up that Mandinka talk. You know what I'm saying? It's always the American, the American Americans asking him to give up that talk. You know what I'm saying? No like button, but like. Right. She thought his old spirit was gone. That when he stood up for her encouragement, he would be more like her and have him forget home. She thought he would rise under massive plan. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I would say that. Yeah. But it's in him. It's his, like I say, it's his indomitable spirit. It's in him. It was born in him. It was bred into him. It's his culture. He does, much as we like to say we do it for the culture, even though we don't know what the culture is. And it's always fabricated and not really your own. Here's a person that actually does it for his culture because he knows where it came from and he knows his place in it, and things of that nature. But after that, Kunta and Belle, they get together. They start talking about corn and grinding corn and finding stuff to talk about. And Kunta makes a corn beau. I'll say it like that. And she was like, man, it's the first time in 22 years, um, a man ever gave her something or made her something. You know what I'm saying? Which was interesting. You know, Ipaka Bahama says, forget who you are, be passive like us. He will not cut off your other foot. Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. But they start getting together. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't married or nothing. They just I ain't gonna put no modern terms on it. But they get together every now and again. But he talks with Fiddler. Fiddler's like, drive is hard, ain't it? Just messing with him. He's like, that's some work, ain't it? But one thing Fiddler tells him is, ain't no bigger battle he can win, or the white man can win, than keeping Negroes apart. That was message right there. You know what I'm saying? If I can keep you, man and woman, natural counterparts apart, battle's already won. You know what I'm saying? All they could speak on was master's affairs. It's like sitting around and speaking on Western politics. They both realized the sadness of the moment. I would say that, Chief. It's like we really don't have nothing to talk about. You know what I'm saying? I bet you Kunta would have had something to talk about if, she was of the same culture as he was. Then they could talk about for days. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you from this? Oh, well, I'm from this village. But there's nothing to talk about. So Master did this, and he went here, and you could go anywhere, and that's one thing she brings up is that she wanted him to drop a Master just so he wouldn't run again, as basically trying to domesticate him. I'm gonna find a purpose for your running, or for what you're running away from. I'm gonna put that to use, and you can go anywhere you want, but you're gonna be driving for Master. You're not gonna be running for yourself or running to get the freedom. You're gonna be driving, going around everywhere and new places and whatnot. Like, she thinks that it's a hobby. That's why he runs, and she talks about it like that. You can drive anywhere from him because he goes everywhere, like it's a social work. Something like that. She being a social worker at this moment. Let's put it like that. She being a social worker at this point, like who this kid from a rough home or something, and you got to do something with his energy, or his misplaced, untapped energy. That's what she's being. She's being like a domesticated slave social worker. It just hit me. That's to read that energy for you, because it's what's best. Like they are doing him a favor. Exactly. Ain't doing him no ain't doing him no favors. Remember, this is still colonial British colonial America for a couple of months or 6 months, whatever. 1770s. Well, by this time it's the Revolutionary War and things of that nature. So yeah, all they could talk about is Master's affairs, what's going on with the Revolutionary War. After the Revolutionary War, because they gonna make George Washington president. Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? You can't even care. You know what I'm saying? Because the simple fact that, shoot, you were probably better off with the British just because of the simple fact that they would, like they were saying in the movie or the series, the British was offering freedom, and then all of a sudden the Americans are offering freedom. But other than that, you still slave. We ain't get that. So what's that? It's literally like talking about Western politics, and we're talking about how some melanor rich person is in, a so-called seat of power, but we don't benefit from it. That's basically what it is. We talking about, oh, well, I'm a Democrat, don't you see what they're trying to do? I'm a liberal. That don't, that, but yeah, that's pretty much what it is in that scene, trying to find a positive outlet for his testosterone. Yes. Let's redirect your ADD. That's right, Sister Deidre. That's all it is. But after that, Belle and them, they marry. I like the simple fact that he doesn't propose. He just says, I'm always gonna be this way, and she's like, I know, which she knows that that he's gonna be this way, and he tells her, I ain't gonna never eat no pork. She's like, I know, and I'm never gonna be no Christian man. She says, I know. Okay, all this, you already know he's not gonna give up his identity. That's what he's telling you in that moment. If she don't know, and she's agreeing to it, he's telling you he's not giving up his identity for nobody, because it's going to come up again, but he's not going to give that up. But she says she knows, but she consents to marrying him, and they jump the broom, and love for Allah's wisdom. Or the saying, he who focuses on the irritation of an itch will surely scratch themselves to the bone. Right, brother Zach. But they jumped the broom. The only reason why I like this scene is because I got to saw Pearl. Pearl was in the scene from 227, but a younger Pearl, what I'm saying? it was just cool to see. It's like, oh, that's Pearl, because I didn't recognize who that was at one point in time. Now I do, and it was Pearl. And Kunta goes with Fiddler to a party because he driving and Fiddler playing, but he hears drums. He hears the drums. And he goes to where he hears the drums, and then he meets Pompey or Botembiaco, who he knows as an Akan. He's like, I'm Mandinka. He's like, Salam alaikum. He's like, wa alaikum salam, but I'm Mandinka. It's like, oh, well, I'm a Khan. He has more to talk about with this one person. He says, oh, well, I know of a village, a Mandinka village. Can say, he was like, that's my uncle's village. You know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, okay. Well, then I know your peoples, and he talking, and then he talk about, like I say, he has more to talk about with this one guy who's not of his tribe, but, of the same, not the same cultural lineage, but the same understanding, cultural understanding. And, they talk about, the Americans, the un-African Africans here. And one thing that Pompey says, because she knew eventually he was going to be Mr. McDonald and open up McDonald's fast food restaurant, fast food joints from Queens to Zamunda. Oh my God. Good, but they got the Golden Arches. Mine is just the Golden Arch. They got the Big Mac. I got the Big Mac. I wasn't going to even talk about that movie. Don't get me started on that. That's what we should. I already said we should do Coming to America and what's wrong with it. Not for understanding. We gonna talk about what's wrong with those movies. But I'm not because you give me the quote that whole dang up movie because I'm already like, you see what I'm saying? I love the Lord. And the love of the Lord is wrong. I don't want to be right. I'm see, it's the comedy nostalgia though. Don't get me twisted. It's the comedy in that one. Too many daggone characters. Okay. All right. Now, so they talk about these un-African Africans, you know, and Biako says, they from Africa and yet they ain't. They say they from here and yet they ain't. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a tribe of strange new people that's lost, and it got me thinking, lost tribe of Shabazz, saying wilderness in North America and things of that nature. But yeah, peace, Logan. Peace, brother Logan. Um, let's Ipaco, Bahamas. I can't do it because I'll be there all day. Otherwise, I'll say it. But yeah, and they talk about this, and Pompey tells them, we got to teach, the children, about our culture, and because they don't know, you see these, un-African Africans here, they don't know nothing about anything or who they are or what they are. But you never hear them say or come to the understanding it was set up for that to happen. Of course they wouldn't. They don't know how to read, so they wouldn't. But they don't see themselves. It's a whole system for that to happen in. That's why they are the way that they are. It was set up to be that way. But I mean, hey, use. But he talks to Pompey and he was like, "You running?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna run." You know what I'm saying? And Pompey gives him more information on what he needs to do and how to escape. He says, "Man, you go north, but you talk to the abolitionists." You know what I'm saying? You talk to them, and they hide, slaves and whatnot. Basically taking themselves on the earlier stages of the Underground Railroad, but the abolitionists. And it's what's up, Baba Cruz? I'm like, okay, it's you, Baba Cruz, cool. But he plans on running with Bolton Biako, right? But then he tells Belle, and she tells her story, that she was married before, and she had two baby girls, and her first husband ran away, but he got caught and they hanged him, and they sold off her children, and she said she didn't want that to happen again. And he's like, "Why are you telling me this, or what now? Why are you telling me now?" And that was because he finds out that she's pregnant. It, can it be said that Kizzy was an anchor baby? I'm just gonna throw it out there for the chat. Was Kizzy an anchor baby? It was like, was Kizzy an anchor baby to keep him from running? That's a good question. I just thought about that. Was Kizzy an anchor baby? I want to know. I'm asking for a friend. Was Kizzy an anchor baby? But yeah, they wouldn't be aware of a system because they have been kept occupied with labor. Yeah, within the 2 to 10 mile grid, it's like hustling the same block all your life. I know she just going in and with my mind, but like I say, was Kizzy an anchor baby? That's what I want to know. I just want to know that. Was she an anchor baby? But Kunta finds out that she's pregnant, and he wants to name the baby Kizzy because it means it's Mandinka for staying put. And And he goes around this with he goes around this with Fiddler on how he can explain this name. Basically, explain it to Massa so she be able to keep the name and how to cover it up or something like that. And he's like, Fiddler, will it work? And he's like, probably. Probably is as good as it gets for Melanor rich people, Toby. That's what he tells him. And Toby, Fiddler's like, well, keep on talking, but I'm gonna play a song that I want to play. you know. Um, and he's playing it, but that's the part where Philip dies, man. It's sad, you know what I'm saying? But he plays a song that he wants to play, and then you got Kunta saying, now you know how it feels to be free, Philip. Now you know how it feels, basically. And Kizzy's born, and Kunta wants to, do the naming ritual that was done when he was a child, or when he first came into the world as a baby. And Bale has some reservations about that. Yeah, character development before he goes. Yeah, you know. But at the same time, but he goes do the name ritual, but at the same time, the drums are playing. It's time for him to go. But now, Kizzy's here. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm asking. Was Kizzy an anger baby? Because he could have ran, but he could have ran with the kid, but he didn't even do that. But he didn't run, and he stays. And he talks to the baby and says, your name means Kizzy. Your name means to stay put, but it don't mean to stay a slave. And then he goes into basically the lineage. He talks to baby Kizzy and tells her the lineage of her forebears. And that's the end. It ends off on that note. You know what I'm saying? What was interesting about that part is, Belle, gets the sense that, something's going to happen and he going to run, and she about to bawl. She about to cry because she's like, it's about to happen again. She about to have a conniption fit, but she sees him come back. But that part was funny. It wasn't funny, but she's like, woo. But she played, the woman that played that role, that scene, because she looked like she was really scared that they took her kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was flaring up. Which they said that in the beginning of the episode, don't give them a taste of freedom. Yeah, but he already had that. He was born with that. He was born with, like I said, that was his first movements. So, that was part of it, But it is what it is. Does that speak to the energy of staying in Babylon with the hopes of changing the beast from inside? I don't know in this sense, because like Kunta says, this ain't his home. This ain't his home, and he tells his kid, your name ain't mean to stay put. That don't mean you stay a slave. And to me, it's like saying, because if he was trying to stay in Babylon, it's like, fuck it. It's like civil rights. I'm gonna try to change everything from the inside and plead with dominant society to give me rights, to give me freedom, or I'm gonna join with the abolitionists and plead with the government to give me freedom. I'm not going to really take my freedom. You know what I'm saying? He's not trying to do that. He's not trying to work with the system at all. But Belle was like, okay, Chief. Belle was like, she was the trap. From Grandma to Maggie to Belle. He had poor fortune with Man Sinclair. Thank you, Chief. Of course, Nah, you would know. You know, big brother chief. You know, you know, you know, you were around. I'm not saying you old. I'm just saying you were around. You know, you like these type of movies. You know. Um, but yeah, he had bad fortune with women that had no wisdom. Yeah, yeah. Cause I'm thinking grandma, mama, Maggie. Yeah, none of them had no wisdom. Yeah, none. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the messed up part. Ain't no safety for a child in slavery. That's right. This is what I thought at the scene. Safe. Uselessly. Safe. I hear you. I hear you. And thought the child was not even hers. Right. Show enough. Show enough already. Yeah. So that's the end. But like I say, you see a lot in this revolution, in a sense, like you're gonna see in part 4, because you're gonna see the matriculation of Kizzy and what that brings about for her. But you see, you know, what happens to Kunta as he runs again, as he tries to reconnect with a part of home that he knows, but has abandoned it all, in Maggie. And then we see the anchor mom, the anchor wife, the ball and chain. Like, so that's why they say ball and chain. That's what they say. That's why they call them the ball and chain. Western society calls them the ball and chain. And Belle. Um, True, Kunta was second to um, experience Kizzy after Master Rentals. Yeah, yeah. Um, but um, the reading of the Relentless Slave that she did speaks to the mindset that the woman takes for her child. She enforced Master's will more than a field marshal, of course. But I mean, that already tells you who her man really was. You know, but okay. At least Maggie said who her man was. So Belle ain't gonna say that. Oh no, Belle just go. Mm, Belle just gonna marry somebody else. But in her mind, she knows who she really want, or who she really take direction from. You know. But it is what it is. Truth. In slavery, the only owner occurring is master slave. What the enslaved woman does to enforce master plan her child is an illusion, false sense of ownership. Right. I feel you on that, Sister Kashia. Already with that. But it is, I mean, it is what it is. But that this is why this is a good episode, because you see all of that. I bet you a bunch of people didn't even pay attention to all that, or didn't even see all of that. Bob and Randy asked me where I prefer this series over the newer version, and I would say probably, and I told him this one, but probably also because of the situations that they're not going to make certain dissenting characters like in the more the remake into heroes. Like I could see them making Belle a heroine. They gonna make her rebelliousness heroic in a sense. You know what I'm saying? It was said at the wedding. She said, "I'm yours and you're mine." Yes, Chief. And we both belong to Master B. Yes, I even made a note about that. You know what I'm saying? I'm yours and you're mine. And we both Master Marinos. It's already there. It's already there written on the wall. And Kunta knows it, She may not see it, but he does. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, all they did was produce more commodity for their enslaver when they brought forth Kizzy. Yep. As they used to say, more meat for the grinder. Fresh meat for the grinder, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? You just put a kid back into the system. You know what I'm saying? In the public system, public slave system. you funneling another kid into the system, thinking you doing something for them and you really hurting them. I guess you know what it is, but it is what it is. So after this, that's it. And we gonna go to part 4 and we gonna see, Kunta get old and Kizzy, and we gonna see pretty much a changing of main characters. It goes from Kunta and now it's gonna go to Kizzy, and then we gonna get into some Chicken George. I can't wait, So I can't wait to see me some Ben Vereen, boy. But yeah, we gonna see a changing of main characters or main leads. American movie. In every movie I've ever watched, the beginning of the end for the warrior archetype. Yeah, it's the see what I'm saying? In this system, you know what I'm saying, you're not paired off with a warrior wife. You're paired off with somebody that is dissenting and rebellious to your warrior nature or your warrior spirit, and therefore there's the conflict of the culture where it really shouldn't be, but it is, because you're paired wrong. You know what I'm saying? Because you're paired wrong, but that's what the system wants. If you was paired with a warrior wife that understood these things, that'll make you even stronger. So it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Or an adverse culture. Was there wayward women involved? Or an adverse culture? I would say both. Sister Kashia, there's wayward women and an adverse culture, because you can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a culture in order for them to thrive in. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a culture for them to thrive in. So, but I mean, it is what it is in that sense. But hey, like I say, we gonna get into part 4 and we gonna see some more things, some more revolutions, and we're gonna keep it going. So give thanks, everybody. Give thanks. I wish you all have a good rest of your strong, and I will see y'all next movie, Innerstandings, and we gonna get it in with some more roots. We halfway there when we get to part 4, about Kasha. But we getting in part 4, and like I said, we halfway there. So give thanks, everybody, and I will see y'all next strong. So you and Brother Vermont highlighted on your discussion the need for proper coupling. Yes, we did. And that's why you see that. You really see that, Baba Cruz, why that's important. That way, like they saying, like homie said in Godfather 3, all ships must sail in the same direction. So you got to have proper coupling, so all your ships are sailing in the same direction. And people say Godfather 3 is bad. But you get that lesson from it. At least I did. So you see that. But thanks, Chief. Vodka Shock, Chief. I give thanks. So give thanks, everybody, and I will see y'all, next strong when we do this again, halfway there. So give thanks, peace, shalom.